In the year 793 CE, the sun rose gently over the holy island of Lindisfarne, casting a golden hue on the ancient stone monastery that stood steadfast against the encroaching tides. Inside, the monks began their morning prayers, their voices rising in harmonious supplication to the heavens. Unbeknownst to them, the serenity of their sacred rituals was about to be shattered by a force that would alter the course of history. On the horizon, dark sails appeared, cutting through the mist like harbingers of doom. The Vikings, fierce and unrelenting, were approaching. The origins of these seafaring warriors can be traced back to the rugged landscapes of Scandinavia, where harsh winters and a fragmented political landscape forced communities into a struggle for survival. The fertile valleys and coastal regions were home to farmers who toiled relentlessly, yet the climate was growing colder, the soil less forgiving. Scarcity of resources bred competition and conflict among petty kings and chieftains, leading to a society that was both resilient and restless. Faced with dwindling harvests and the constant threat of famine, many turned their eyes toward the sea, where rumors of wealth and opportunity whispered in the winds. The Viking Age was born out of necessity and ambition. As these farmers became increasingly disillusioned with their lot, they sought new horizons. The sea, once a barrier, transformed into a pathway, a means to escape the harsh realities of their homeland. They constructed remarkable longships, marvels of engineering that combined speed, agility, and durability. Crafted from oak and designed with shallow drafts, these vessels could navigate both open oceans and the winding rivers of Europe. The innovative clinker-built technique allowed for flexibility and strength, enabling the ships to withstand the tumultuous waves while also slipping into shallow waters where larger ships could not follow. With their longships, the Vikings became masters of the seas, embarking on raids that would strike terror into the hearts of those unprepared for their ferocity. The attack on Lindisfarne was just the beginning. The monks, clad in their humble robes, were caught completely off guard as the Vikings descended upon them, swords glinting in the morning light. The initial shock was palpable. The raiders moved swiftly, their tactics honed by years of experience. They struck with precision, targeting vulnerable monasteries that were rich in gold and silver, knowing that these places were often poorly defended and isolated. In mere moments, the tranquility of prayer was replaced by the chaos of violence, as the Vikings pillaged the treasures of Lindisfarne and vanished into the mist, leaving devastation in their wake. This pattern of raiding continued throughout the late 8th and into the 9th century, as Viking longships appeared along the coasts of England, Ireland, and beyond. Their reputation as fearsome warriors was matched only by their cunning. They learned to exploit weaknesses in local defenses, often attacking during times of celebration or festival when towns were least prepared. They would strike hard and fast, retreating before a coordinated response could be mounted. Townsfolk who had never seen such ferocity were left in shock, their lives and livelihoods shattered in the blink of an eye. However, the Viking story is not solely one of raiding and destruction. As the years progressed, the Vikings began to evolve from mere plunderers into settlers and traders. The establishment of the Danelaw in England marked a significant turning point in their history. This region, where Norse laws and customs prevailed, became a melting pot of Viking and Anglo-Saxon cultures. Towns like York flourished as centers of commerce, where goods exchanged hands and ideas mingled. The Vikings, once seen as invaders, became integral to the fabric of English society. Across the sea in what is now France, the Viking leader Rollo was granted land by the French king in a bid to secure peace. This territory would eventually become Normandy, a region that would play a crucial role in European history. The Norsemen, as they were called, settled, intermarried, and adapted to their new environment, their legacy woven into the very identity of the region. The spirit of exploration that had driven them across the seas continued to thrive, leading to further expeditions. One of the most remarkable figures in this narrative is Eric the Red, who, after being exiled from Iceland, set sail for the land he would name Greenland. His journey was fraught with peril, yet it exemplified the Viking spirit of adventure and resilience. Erik's son, Leif Erikson, would follow in his father's footsteps, embarking on a voyage that would lead him to the shores of North America, far from the familiar landscapes of Scandinavia. Without the modern navigational tools that we take for granted today, the Vikings relied on the stars, ocean currents, and their intimate knowledge of the sea to chart their courses. Their discoveries, including the settlement at Vinland, showcased not only their bravery, but also their ingenuity as explorers. As the Viking Age progressed, trade networks began to emerge, connecting the Norse with civilizations far beyond their own. The Vikings were not merely raiders. They were traders who facilitated the exchange of goods and cultural influences. They established routes that stretched from the British Isles to the Islamic world, where they traded furs, slaves, and amber for silver and spices. The connection with the Byzantine Empire further enriched their experience, as they brought back not just material wealth, but also knowledge and ideas. The Viking presence in these distant lands fostered a cultural exchange that would leave a lasting impact on both sides. Yet, as the centuries turned, the Viking Age began to wane. The spread of Christianity transformed the landscape of Europe, as the once pagan raiders began to adopt the faith that had been so fervently resisted. The rise of centralized kingdoms also brought about a shift in power dynamics. Monarchs began to consolidate their authority, building stronger defenses against Viking incursions. The once fragmented political landscape of Europe was giving way to more unified states, making it increasingly difficult for the Vikings to sustain their way of life. Despite the decline of their raiding culture, the legacy of the Vikings endured. Their contributions to language, governance, and cultural practices remain evident today. Many English words have roots in Old Norse, a testament to the linguistic impact of Viking settlements. The concept of local governance, with councils and assemblies, can be traced back to Viking traditions, influencing the development of democratic practices in Europe. The spirit of exploration, innovation, and resilience that characterized the Vikings continues to resonate in modern society, inspiring generations to seek out new frontiers and push the boundaries of what is possible. The image of the Viking as a brutal raider often overshadows the complexity of their lives. They were not merely warriors. They were farmers who cultivated the land, traders who engaged in commerce, and explorers who ventured into the unknown. Their society was rich with art, mythology, and cultural practices that reflected a deep connection to the world around them. They celebrated the changing seasons, honored their gods, and created a legacy that would shape the course of history. In reflecting on the Viking Age, one cannot help but marvel at the resilience and adaptability of a people who turned adversity into opportunity. Their story is one of exploration, innovation, and transformation. As we look back on the legacy of the Vikings, we are reminded that their spirit of adventure and their contributions to the world continue to inspire us today. The echoes of their journeys resonate through time, a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit to seek, to discover, and to thrive against all odds. If you enjoyed this historical journey, please support our channel by liking, subscribing, and sharing your thoughts in the comments. Don't miss our upcoming content.